So, earlier I mentioned that the EPA said there's more than 86,000 synthetic chemicals in commercial use right now. So we're exposed to an extremely high level of toxins, and that's through not just food, but through our water, through the air, through our homes, like through chemicals, even in particle board and the walls and paint and carpet and home products and so forth. So when you think about it, that really is mind-boggling. But our human body that Allah has bestowed us with can still handle a lot. And given that toxic overload, our bowels, our liver, our kidneys, our lymphatic system is always working in overdrive to try to detoxify the body and maintain health. But sometimes it can be overburdened. And once that starts happening, you can start to get chronic disease. It starts to adversely affect uptake of certain nutrients, as well as adversely uptaking our oxygen and start to create a more septic environment prone to disease. So yeah, high levels of toxicity then in turn contribute to pretty much the vast majority of inflammatory conditions out there, including most common things like allergies, skin problems, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, pretty much everything out there, right? So that's another reason I mentioned this particular point is it's one of those things we don't typically think about, but we need to start putting more attention and focus on it. And as I said, hijama is one of the ways. It's not the only way that relates to detox. We can maybe get into other ways in Q&A, but I want to at least leave you with this, with a few comments regarding hijama, because it is, again, one of those things that the Prophet ﷺ offered that we simply just aren't making full use of. And it is one of the most useful techniques that the Prophet ﷺ ever gave us. So I assume most of our viewers are familiar with hijama, but in case you're not, hijama is a technique that was highly recommended by the Prophet ﷺ and was practiced by many of the companions and even some of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. It's a technique that involves applying suction to the skin, as well as small incisions or small cuts in order to extract blood for therapeutic purposes. So some of the purposes of this bloodletting relate to the fact that it's a method of detoxification, as I said earlier. It's a method for thinning the blood out. It's a method for stimulating new blood cell, kind of like a local recycle or like a local oil change, for the body. It helps to improve circulation, helps to reduce pain. So I'm sure our viewers know that, so many diseases, like I said, are associated with the opposite of that. So many diseases are associated with high toxicity, with thickening of the blood, with poor circulation, and so forth. So again, that is why hijama can help with so many conditions. So there's so many ahadith about it. I just mentioned a few here just for the benefit of our viewers. But I wanted to point out that the Prophet ﷺ himself had it done many times. We know there are certain sunnah points where he did them. Since then, or from his time till now, the number of points and how they're used has obviously evolved considerably since then. But one of the ahadith also mentions like dates on which to do them, like the 17th, 19th, and 21st. SubhanAllah, that too is part of the great wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ that, many years ago, I was reading a book called Moon Time, and it was written by non-Muslims, and they were explaining that just like it's a scientific fact that the moon affects the oceans and tides or the water in the oceans, subhanallah, your body is also majority water, just as your blood is majority water. So they were explaining that the moon is literally affecting the water and the blood in your body. And they explained that if you want to take blood out or any type of fluid extraction from the body, then it's easier on certain days based on the lunar cycle. And they said the easiest days were, subhanAllah, in the week after the full moon days. So the full moon days, based on the Sunnah, are best for fasting, like 13, 14, 15. But the very good days for hijama are in the week after that. So having said that, I mean, most of the scholars say if you have an urgent need to do hijama, you could do it any day. But if it can wait, then it's good to do on those days. Another application I mentioned here that we're not going to have time to get into in detail in this presentation, but it is well known that the Prophet ﷺ did do hijama after he was afflicted with magic for some time. There was an incident when the Jewish woman was also doing or tried to poison the Prophet ﷺ, and he went and did hijama after that as well. So again, this is yet another application. So yeah, as I've, alhamdulillah, I've been practicing clinically for the last more than 21 years, and I've been doing hijama, and I've done it on thousands of patients, alhamdulillah. So, and again, it has so many benefits. I've seen it firsthand. But I'd say probably the biggest areas of benefit pertain to an immediate effect with respect to many types of musculoskeletal pain, including headaches and migraines. I've had many patients I've worked with who experience strokes, and it helps to accelerate the rehab after a stroke. And then it can have so many other benefits beyond that that we could get into.